welcome back to another episode of the Final Cast with your hosts, Matt
and Brad.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Dude, that intro is sweet.
The first thing I was going to say is, like, for everybody out there who is hearing something different, that absolute banger that you just heard was made by the OG himself, Brian, and he dropped it about a week before we started using it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so much better.
Yeah, the visuals look awesome. I thought it was cool.
Oh, dude, it's so sick. Oh, it's so much better.
And it's not as long.
That's the big thing. It's not like
because usually
long.
When I'm listening to a podcast, like I usually like fast forward through like all the ads and then like the intros, just get to the good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever listened to an ad. Like if I have the option to fast forward and skip, I do the same thing with YouTube. For all you people who don't know on YouTube, if an ad's coming up and it's like, skip in 10 seconds or whatever, if you don't want to wait, there's the little circle with the eye in it. If you click it and say this video is inappropriate, immediately gets you to the video. It's great.
Yep. So, Matt taught me that and I've used it ever since.
Yeah, it's awesome. It makes life so much better. I haven't watched an ad, and then I have an ad blocker on my Chrome. So
sometimes it won't let you do it though, but that's like very rare.
Yeah, that's when you get the ad blocker. It's an add-on for Chrome, and it blocks every single YouTube ad ever.
There you go.
It's pretty dope. But yeah, dude, what's been going on?
Oh, not much. Just I don't think I've fished yet this year. Well, this show's gonna be coming out later in January. I'm sure I'll fish between then, but
I thought you went out like right after.
I don't think I did. I went the day before New Year's Eve or something.
Yeah, the last day of the year because I was
last day of the year. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to go out and fish either at all. I've been staring at rods, but I haven't actually got a chance to fish, which sucks. So by the time everyone listens to this, we'll change it. But yeah, so this week's show, super exciting. It's for one of the show sponsors. They've been sponsoring the show since last year, and it's one of the best products ever. Me and Brad talk about it all the time. I've been a subscriber for a while. And that's Darkhorse Tackle. So we're going to welcome the owners, Mr. Josh Chitwood.
Hello.
And the brand new owner, Zach. I don't know your last name.
Fullard.
Zech Fullard. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
How are you guys?
Doing good.
Well, you talked about not being able to fish this year, and not to brag, but
I saw your post.
Zach and I got after it. We got after it. We caught a couple of 10-inchers, called it a day. So that'll do.
Better than nothing, man. In the wintertime, you like one fish is like your make or break for a winter day.
Yep, 100%.
I went out the day after in Pennsylvania and caught another one.
Heck yeah.
Got me beat.
There you go.
Yeah, that's all I'm ever after is just one fish. Even if it's like a 14 or whatever, I don't even care. It's a good day. It's kind of weird how that changes, though, as the time goes on in the summer.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, out here we're all at the mercy of the ice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your ice, and if you think about it, pre-spawn's only like 4 weeks away.
Honestly,
like it's really not that far away.
So here's what Zach learned yesterday or 2 days ago, very quickly. Is that it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Like it doesn't make sense. Him and I caught fish on Big Joshies going very quick. He caught his. We had multiple bites, and granted, they were tail grabbers, but we had multiple bites within 1 foot of water. The first foot of the water column,
wow.
It's 36 degrees. There's a 10-degree wind. It's cold. It's not warm, but those fish, they're still active. A lot of times, it just depends on your location. So,
yeah,
if you've got, let's say, a shallow pond, right? You go to a shallow pond that is just, shallow, duh. And there's weeds or some kind of structure that you can target. Like him and I told him, I said, this is a big, where I was casting, I was just kind of casting in the middle. I said, it's a big weed patch. I'm just hovering this big Joshy over top the weeds and bumping them. And they're within the first foot of water. And every time you'd start bumping, and then it kind of gets snatched and moved to the right or the left. And it's one of those things where it's not necessarily what you're doing that's going to get bit. It's how the fish are going to bite, because you can catch fish. You can get them to bite, but you need them to commit.
Yeah, it's also the most important thing.
But I'm excited for pre-spawn.
Fishing where the fish are.
Fish are,
that's always an important factor when it comes to fishing.
Yeah.
But I agree that's the most important part.
It is. Yeah. That's what's been said in journals and academia all around the country.
Academia. Oh, fishing academia. Yes.
Yes. The very deep field. But no, I'll agree 100%. And I say all the time when people are like, oh, because I'll still fish and be like, oh, it's the winter. Why are you fishing? I was like, the fish are like, they don't just like, they're not bears. They don't.
They're
just
not dead.
Yeah,
they're cold. They're cold water creatures, man.
Yes, I'm about to say that's why if the water gets too if the water gets too hot, for example, they do the same thing they do in the winter. They just don't move.
So,
but they'll still eat.
I've told Zach 1,000,000 times. I said I would rather fish a day where it's 30 degrees and it's snowing or sleeting or whatever, as long as the water is soft. I would rather fish in a 30-degree day than I would a 100-degree day. Any day. Yeah. I'll take it any day, because I can fish the same exact way I'm fishing that cold day that I am that hot day. Because that hot day, those fish don't want to eat. Why they don't want to eat? They know that another cooler day is going to come, or nighttime, or whatever it may be. But in the wintertime, they're moving. But they're not gorging. But the same thing as the summer. They're not gorging in the summer. Like, dude, on August 8th, when it's 110 degrees outside, they're not like, you know what we need to do? Bust on some shad. Because the shad aren't in there.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people really don't think that all the way through. They just assume, well, it's cold, so the fish aren't. It's mostly well, I'm cold, so the fish must be cold, and they're not one to eat. No, that's not how animals work. You're still
crazy
there
for being out here, man.
Yeah.
That's what I always get.
Do it,
Matt. Well, you mentioned it a few minutes ago. Clearwater Pond. Like, so I took Matt out to one of these places last year. Water temperature was 37 degrees, and we still put on a clinic.
Right.
Like, all of us kept catching fish on the chatterbait, and they were swallowing it.
Oh, they were just hammering it, and we just lucked out that day. They weren't tail grabbing; they were engulfing.
Dude, chatterbait is a better cold water bait than it will ever be anywhere else. I don't care what you say.
Yes.
If I'm fishing pre-spawn in winter, so first of all, the winter time from like December to February in Ohio is the best time to catch your PB. You just have to put in the work, grow up, grab yourself a pair of waders, get you a big coat, get you some gloves, chatterbait, a little swim bait, and like a rattle trap, something that generates reactions, right? Rattle trap, jerk bait, whatever it may be. A few weeks ago, I was catching them on a spinnerbait in a foot of water. So it's Ohio's just weird, but this is the time of year where those fish from October to December, they're just going to gorge themselves. They are going to eat until they are just regurgitating skeletons of bait fish. And the chatterbait does a great job of reaction strikes because you can slow roll it. And it gets a better reaction strike than a spinnerbait does because there's so much thump. It just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Whereas a spinnerbait's kind of like the Tinkerbell of reaction strikes at this point because there's so many new baits out. Like spinnerbait's like, you know, whatever. I want to feel that thump, and then I want to feel that bite. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm with you, man. But
for sure.
Speaking of Ohio being weird, I kind of feel a little dirty. I caught my first bass this year in Ohio,
and I'm glad you did. You're gonna get to catch your second bass.
I had an Ohio license before I had a Pennsylvania license this year.
That's crazy.
That was weird.
Let's talk about that. Do a little introduction to yourself, Zach, just because nobody knows who you are yet, and first time on the show.
You can go back as far as you can't go back to early childhood.
No. I mean, I've got a lot of good stories, you know. No. I'm Zach. In November of 2022, I bought Jason White out of his half of Darkhorse Tackle. before that, I was a pro staff for what, Josh? Year and a half almost.
You were the main man, buddy. Let me tell you this. And for those subscribers that do listen, and if we have pro staff on here listening, last April, I played an April Fool's joke on Zach, and I deleted his subscription entirely. I just deleted it. And he DMs us. He's like, my subscription got deleted. And I'm like, that's crazy. And he's like, I tried to resubscribe and it got deleted again. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. But the reason why I did that is the April Fool's joke was actually wholesome. I had a conversation with Jason and I was like, dude, if anybody in this company deserves a free box for promoting us, other than like a podcast platform or anything else, like for somebody that doesn't have like a lot of followers and doesn't grasp onto every single pro staff they can, like this guy deserves a free box. So that's what I did. I was like, fudge it. We'll just give him a free box. Go on, Zach.
You're good, man. No, yeah. I latched on the Darkhorse Tackle. What? Summer of 2021.
July of 2021.
Yep. My first box was the Oops All Topwater box, and I just loved everything about the company. And I spent my time making content for them, doing what I could. And I saw Jason, like I said, losing a little bit of heart in it, and took an opportunity and made an offer and bought him out. And,
Heck yeah!
Here we are, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I believe in what the company is. I love the community that surrounds it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. The whole small business aspect of what we do, like that's, there's a million subscriptions out there. Yeah. And like to me, that was always the best part, is that it was small business driven. And that presents a lot of opportunities and a lot of advantages to people. Myself at the time, I was a customer for a long time before I ever was a half owner of the company. I can almost guarantee you that the guy standing next to me does not have what I have.
Yeah,
I can almost guarantee it. And that's an awesome advantage. Like just throwing in a little different sometimes is what you need. It's probably right under fishing where the fish are.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I mean, my home lake, what I call it my home lake. It's about 45 minutes from my house. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it is heavily pressured. Very heavy pressure.
You see this right here?
I do.
Are you a Steelers fan?
Excuse me. I mean, I am, but I'm not that big into it. I was years ago. But
when they were good.
No, it wasn't about when they were good. A real good buddy of mine, we used to, like, every single game we got together, we hung out, libations, all that good stuff, had a great time. Well, he ended up moving to Arizona, and I just realized I have better things to do.
Yeah, it gets like that.
But no, I mean, that's.
Keep it up, buddy. You're on a roll.
Zech Fullard, Metal Jones. If you're looking for who I am on Instagram, I love this company. I love what we do, and I'm actually having a blast. Sometimes, much to Josh's chagrin, getting excited over the business and what we do and how it's done.
Yeah. So there's two things that I was gonna say. One was how do you guys make it work? You living in Pennsylvania and just living in Ohio.
Okay.
Well. No, I gotta say something. So I said that I bought the business. I bought half of the business in November, but a better way to explain it is that I married Josh in November.
I was gonna say that. So essentially, the way it worked, and I'm going to do my best to keep it professional, not throw any shade. There were offers thrown at our business by other companies once the other owner decided their heart was not in it anymore. And I explained to him very clearly, there is no other person I would rather work with other than Zach. So there is an option here. The option is we dissolve this, or we let Zach and I do this. That was the plan. Because here's the thing. You get another guy who owns a company running this on top of his company, on top of his personal life. It ain't going to work. It's never, ever going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I wanted Zach was because of the passion he carried.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, him and I are very like-minded. We are constantly thinking of the stupidest ways to catch fish. We're constantly thinking of ways to innovate, whatever it may be. We're looking at innovation. We're looking at new companies where, we are trying to punch the small business industry right in the mouth. Just, hey, what's up? We're Josh and Zach from Darkhorse Tackle. Please, for the love of God, confide in us. Anyway, Zach.
Yeah, no. I don't know. We talk constantly
every day.
So, is it something you guys like? Do you guys have to meet up every month, and how does that work?
No, I drive out there. I drive out there once a month to pack boxes.
He kisses me a good night every night.
That's crazy, man. That's what, 2.5 hour drive? 2 hour? 3? Wow.
3.
Don't show your fingernails, Zach.
Mom, look.
That's funny. Yeah, there's a little side joke right there from one of your guys' lives. I don't think anybody else watching this is gonna know what you're talking about, but
that's okay. That's okay. It's just
that's funny though.
Everybody here has parents who are weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
my parents love Brad more than they love me. Weird.
Right. I get it. Yeah. My mother has talked more to Zach in the past 48 hours than she has with me. So, every time I get home, she just goes, "Get back in your hole," and I'm like, "Okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I am sorry that I exist. I'm sorry that I'm running the greatest American small business subscription box in fishing alongside Zach, and you're just not proud of me. And you're just not. It's not enough.
No. You went down to the dungeon for a second. She was telling me all about you. So
exactly. I'm in the dungeon, and she did. Yeah, she does it every chance she gets. That son of a gun. She does it every chance she gets. She goes, "Well, Josh. And there she goes, running her mouth.
Jeez.
No, but I love my mom. She's a shit.
Brad, you were asking about changes. I don't know necessarily how to go about answering that.
Nothing but positivity.
I will tell you this. One big change is we're going to be at the freaking Columbus Expo.
Heck yeah. With a
booth. Tackle has a booth.
And I'll tell you this. Not only are we going to be at the Columbus Expo, we're going to have an Expo box. We're going to have an Expo dabble pack. Not an Expo dabble pack. We'll have an overstock dabble pack, but we'll have overstock boxes. We'll have Expo boxes. Speaking of boxes, I was recently informed of a misnomer said on the most recent Paddle and Fin podcast. So I do want to explain the new replacement to the People's Champ box, which is what it will be called the Darkhorse Tackle Quarterly. So the Darkhorse Tackle
Quarterly.
Say again.
Did we tell anybody about the Darkhorse Tackle Quarterly yet?
You did about 30 times, but
yeah, I was there. I was in that live.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that nomenclature that you're explaining in the mishap was probably from my mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's mostly because I've got like
you're
30 of these boxes.
You're a
and I was like,
subscriber.
at first I was like, man, I really like. I text Brad and I was like, dude, they're getting rid of the champ box. He's like, why? I was like, I don't know.
Getting better.
This is gotten. I watched the live, so I my feelings became
so
good.
Let me tell you right now. Right now, we have 2 baits. We have 2 baits, but we're at a $95 value.
Woo!
So we have 2 baits. We're at $95. Okay. It's not about we're done. We're done with quantity. It's not about quantity anymore. Okay. So if possible, if we could do a quantity box, I'd probably do it, but I'm done regurgitating the same blanks that we do for the People's Champ box. Like I got very sick of it very quickly, and Zach knew that I was very sick of it. And every single People's Champ box that we had done in the past, it was on me, and I designed every single one of them. And I just started noticing the redundancies. I'm like, man, like, do I want to do a Jackal Gantarel knockoff blank again? Like, God, dude. And it was just like one of those things where I was dying to get some guy who had, oh, you've got a 2-jointed, shad style crank down wake bait. Oh, you charge $50 for it. Well, I can't do that because I'm not going to be able to get the margins right. And then what's that, Zach?
I said, now we can.
Now we can. So $145 value. It's going to be, it's going to be over $145.
I'm about to say, let me change that. It's not $145 value. It's $145 cost.
Correct.
That'll have above $145 value.
Correct. Now, here's what I want your listeners to understand. This box is not designed to be a bargain box similar to like the Weekend Warrior box. In the Weekend Warrior box, Dabble Pack, anything we offer is not a bargain box. It's just that we get better pricing because we order in bulk. So obviously I can tell you the X amount that we paid for is worth more than the X amount that it is, or vice versa. The retail value of this box is obviously going to be higher than what you pay for, but this box is designed for guys who are throwing out proprietary blanks. These guys are hand carving them in their basement, or they already have a blank that's made. What I want to try to get some bait droppers, some one of a kind deals, like, I'm sure you guys are aware of like throwback baits or dynasty fishing lures. What's that, Zach?
If you will hire a scuba diver to get your bait back, this box is for you.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. So I can tell you a little funny story of that since you bring it up, and we're already going down that rabbit hole, and I'm the king of those. Down in North Carolina, I was bank fishing, and I was throwing. It was a TK that was I can't remember the color. I have it in this mess of crap somewhere down here because I don't throw it anymore because it scared the crap out of me. But I threw it and I was bank fishing. In ponds they have those it's like a wooden support that holds the circulator or whatever for man-made ponds. So I casted it and I was an idiot. And I was like, I'm going to cast right next to that pylon. Nope. I cast it over top of it and got the hooks all stuck in it. And I was on Camp Lejeune and I text my wife. She was at home and I was like, hey, me and the guys may have somehow tactically acquired a pedal boat. And it's behind the barracks right now. I'm going to put it in my truck and I need you to meet me here. And we got to paddle out here so I can get this boat or this bait back. And she's like, that's stupid, but okay. So I drive back. I get this pedal boat. This is like the love boat. It's like the Swan boat. It's so
Is it
stupid.
actually a Swan?
It was a Swan. And yeah. Hopefully no one from the Marine Corps is like, I know where the Swan went. And I'm going to get raided. But anyway, it's still on Camp Lejeune for all you guys listening. It's if you're going to raid me, you don't have to. It's at the little pond right off the main gate, and it's back in the woods about 150 feet.
Oh God, yeah, those military guys, they'll get after you. There's no
tell you what.
Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, but so I brought it back. I put it in my truck bed. Of course, I didn't have any ratchet straps. So as I'm going down the main road, it comes out of my bed and almost kills a lady and her kid. So then I have to get it back up in my bed. Got it there. We got it. And as I was going to grab it, didn't notice big old wasp nest. So then me and my wife got attacked by wasps all the way back, but I got the bait back. So this box is meant for people like me.
There you go.
What the box is for.
That's crazy, man.
It was sketchy.
It really is. It's going to be a good box. the two baits that we have decided already are very good. It's just one of those things, do we settle with these two baits? I'll give you some insight. I'll give you some insight on the inner workings of Zach and myself with Darkhorse Tackle. Like, is it one of those things where we're like, okay, we're good with these two proprietary, unique blanks. Let's go find somebody that'll paint us, an alternative lures, whatever, and a sugar tit lures, whatever. And then we call it 145 or, $165. But I'm not settled. I'm not finished. I'm not satisfied yet. I want to find a guy, I don't mind bringing, let's just say we're running $145 retail. I don't mind bringing the cost of this thing to $120 if I have to.
Yeah.
Because it's more or less about trying to flash. It's more about showing off. This is our show off box. It's limited to 25. We're getting close to 25. Let it rip. If you're interested in bait drops, if you're interested in big, unique swim baits, if you're interested in something that's not just a custom painted like KO or replica, this is definitely a box for you. I understand $145 price tag might be hard to swallow, but the three baits you're going to get, you're not really going to be able to get by just DMing the guy and being like, hey, I saw this bait on your Instagram. Let me have it. They're generally going to tell you no.
Yeah.
Yep. I've ran into that. So that is 100% the thing. Brad?
You mentioned the cost. I think like the cost of it's not as bad just because, like you said, it's going to be a quarterly box. So you break it down, that's what, $30 a month?
It's no,
40?
That's
No,
terrible math, Brad.
It's more
I
than
don't know.
$30.
Like
You
50.
said 120.
Like yeah, we're doing a spring, we're doing a summer, we're doing a fall, and we're doing a winter. So here's in the grand scheme.
Well, I'm
of
just
things,
thinking 120 divided by 3 months.
I get it. In the
145
grand
divided by
scheme,
3 months.
in the grand scheme of things, it's less expensive than the People's Champ box, but it's
So in the
going to
grand scheme of things, I can tell you because I just did
Scream.
math. Scream, scheme, whatever. Shut up.
Calculator. My
You
man.
Diowa fanboy. Anyway, it's $48.34 a month, which is cheaper than the Champ box, what I was paying and what everybody else was paying, and you're getting a better value. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it's a win-win.
You're getting
And-
it's not about the value, more or less the fact that you're getting baits that you can't get. Like, okay, the most recent box we did was a Black Label takeover box, and we pushed the limits, buddy. Let me tell you, I don't think we made $1 on that box because it came down to Zach and I saying, pretty please, Cliff Pace, would you pretty please just give us these baits at X amount of dollars instead of, like, I'm talking like a 60 cents difference just to make money. Like,
Is that the December box? The one I
the
just
one
got?
you just got.
Yeah, dude, it's sick. I wish
I
it's
know.
upstairs on my coffee
I
table.
know.
And I was looking at it, and my wife's not a fisherman or woman or whatever you want to PC say, correct? But she was like, "Those look really good." I was like, "I know they do." Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
so sick.
Well, yeah, he said yes for the same reason why we did it.
Exactly.
And it was because we wanted to say thank you to everybody that had been subscribing to the PC box
Yep.
all the time.
It-
That was our thank you.
That's cool.
It was a final send off.
Most
you
of those
know-
baits he just released them in November.
Yep. So
Oh, wow.
the
Hey.
rattling, the turbo, the rattling peanut, the runt,
Battle.
the battle toad is bad ass,
Yep.
dude.
It's sick.
I don't know about cuss words on this podcast, how you guys do it.
Yeah,
but
you're good.
I don't care.
dude, that thing is badass. And if Adam Blomeke listens to this, let me tell you one thing, you son of a gun. You're very lucky. You're very lucky you got that box. You did a very big favor to us, and you're lucky because I was going to send you random People's Champ baits because I have a bunch of random ones because every month we would just order X amount, and sometimes it sold, sometimes it didn't. And the one thing that really hit hard for me was when we had like 9 subscribers for the People's Champ box, and I'm like, what are we doing wrong? Like, this is a really cool deal. This is something and Matt, like you said, dude, you were subscribed, I think, from the get-go. I think you did.
Yeah, March.
You did the
March.
first month.
Yeah, the first month was March because I remember I messaged you and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to Dale Hollow and I just ordered this box.
I wanted
Can
to
you
make
get
sure
it to
you
me
got it."
like ASAP?" And I ordered it like 2 days before they was like sent out, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I put it in the mail," and I got it when me and Brad were leaving. Like
Nice.
we were driving, and I got
It was
the
in
night
his trunk.
before. Yeah, I
got to look at it. So that's my favorite thing about, because I can't spend that much money on a box right now.
Sure.
So Matt always had these boxes, and I would be able to look at them. I'm like, man, some of these baits look awesome, and that was my favorite part about it, just opening them and looking at all of them.
Yep. And we had a bunch of good dudes. Is that that's a bait.
So you got that one,
yeah.
Matt?
Yep.
Man,
Oh my god, another brush tail shad glide.
I'll be able to say I think that blank was used a few times, but they all looked sick.
No, I never reused a blank except for the November People's Champ box. I asked Robusto Custom Lures to just send me 20. I think it was 20.
Daiwa
One
fan.
of each.
What?
Yeah, you've got 2 Daiwa fanboys, by the way.
Oh man,
Suck it.
I just bought. By the way, I just bought a Gancraft 001 Mago, and I don't know if you know what that is. That is a Tatula. It's a Tatula 100 with beefed up gears.
I was about to say it's a Tatula 100 that's roided out.
It's roided out. It's meant for swim baits. And
it's essentially like the old Mega Bass reels because those were made by I
they
know
are
one
made by
series.
Daiwa. Guess who?
Must say
Guess
they
what,
were made
buddy?
by Daiwa.
Pretty
I know.
close-knit
I've
community.
got one, but guess what? I don't use it. It's on the shelf, but it's just because it's old and I'm
Forget
afraid.
the shelf, dude. Use it
I
till you.
know.
See, I'm that guy, man.
No,
I'm
I can't
that
use it
guy.
till I break it. No, because you can't find them
will.
anymore. I found one on eBay for $800, and I paid $800 for it
Sometimes you gotta
originally.
pay $800.
I mean, you're not wrong. I have Antares DCs, my guy. I understand.
There you go. So,
I know.
You know what? You could get something better and rarer for $800. So it's one of those.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sure you've heard it in the military: "Nut up or shut up."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, believe me, that was my whole first deployment. So yeah, I know about that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just everyone out there, I give Daiwa a bunch of crap. They make okay stuff if it's the JDM versions of them.
Listen.
Me and Josh has had this conversation last year at the expo. The American Daiwa stuff is not that good.
Well, listen.
You agreed with me.
I did because I have JDM Daiwa. But listen, dude, I'm still using Tierras and Vientos. All right, I've got a Tierra. I've got 2 Tierras. I've got 1 Viento. Those are both made in Japan. Those are both 2005, and those both still kick the ever living shit out of anything that's made by anybody other than Shimano and Daiwa. If Shimano, the metaphorical battle of Shimano and Daiwa is literally just a very aggressive circle jerk. Like it's just like mine's better, and it's like no, mine's better, and you guys, you both, everybody wins at the end of this circle jerk.
And then in 3 years they say, yeah, mine's better. No, mine's better. Hey, you want to collab? Yeah. And they collab on something, and then they go right back to hating each other but loving each other at the same time.
Exactly. Like you're not, dude. Like I'm a lose hater. I'm a lose.
Oh yeah.
Hater.
Oh yeah.
Hater. And I don't care. And people would get mad
Except for this. That's a good reel. It's from 2009. It's a BB1.
BB1s are not bad.
It's not a bad reel. I just rebuilt it. I don't fish with it anymore because I got a lot better stuff.
But Zach only uses Daiwa. He's a good kid.
Except for my spinning.
Oh yeah, he's got a Vanford.
I prefer
guy.
Yeah,
I have it. I have a Tatula and I have a Vanford, and the Vanford is definitely better.
Yeah.
I
didn't like the Tatula spinning reel.
I was about to say I had it for a little while, and I was like, man, I'm not a fan of it. And then I gave mine to Brad, and I was like, here, man, you can use it. And he was like, yeah, I don't like this. Did you ever give that back to me?
No, remember I lost it.
Yeah, I'm about to say, and I wasn't even mad. I was like, whatever, I don't really care.
Okay, so as somebody whose dad is an actual authorized Daiwa dealer, meaning, so there's a difference between these things. like to become a Shimano dealer, you have to be like the same status as a Daiwa dealer. Like there are people who sell Daiwa and there are people who are dealers of Daiwa. So selling Daiwa is Tatulas and below.
Yep.
That is a Tatula, a C80, an Arid, like literally just think of the crappiest South Korean, whatever you want to call it, just crap reels that come out dime a dozen. So being a Daiwa dealer, that's Tatula and above. So you've got your Zillions, you've got
Zillions are popping into, like, I saw a Zillion at a Dick's.
Holy
Really?
smokes.
I know. I
So-
hope it's not an American Zillion.
Was
because
it
I don't. I
public
hope-
lands or was it?
No,
Dick?
it was Dick's. It was Dick's. Public Lands has them too. I was at a Public Lands in
Okay,
Columbus. They had
so
Zillions.
then
Public lands ain't bad.
what that means is that because they're not, I don't think they're a licensed dealer. I will have to
No
double
way.
check. I'll backtrack. I'll DM you guys on Instagram and say, son of a gun, I was wrong. So being a licensed Daiwa dealer, there is certain series you can't get. So my dad, he gets Kages. So I have the Kage spinning reel. What the Kage spinning reel is, it's a Tatula that is an ounce and a half lighter.
Yeah.
That was a really timely breakdown, if you will, Brad.
Somebody liked my thing, and I clicked on it, and I forgot the sound was on.
That's okay. That's okay. I feel like I've been doing all the talking. We need to get some. Let's get some mixers going, boys.
Oh, don't worry, we're getting there. So one question I had, obviously, with it being a quarterly box to the 145, you kind of already went into it, but
yeah,
was the backstory of really going to this quarterly box was mostly just because you felt like the champ box was either, did you feel it was getting stagnated, or did you feel like you just wanted to make a better box for people with the or moving on from the PC box?
So what it was it was a conversation with Zach, and I told him when he came into this business, I straight up told him, at the end of the year, I want to nix this. Like, I don't want this anymore. It's so stressful to have to think. Like, granted, Jason did a lot of like box building, but like, it's so stressful to think at like the end of the month. And here's the thing, man. There's a difference between making hundreds of jigs, hundreds of like lead poured items, hundreds of like soft plastic baits, between guys who are charging 45, 50, 60, 70, whatever it may be.
But we love you, jig guys.
Jig masters and jig guys.
Oh, dude, I love Jig Masters, man.
Cody's the best. He will always be the best. If anybody
talking about that finesse jig,
it's the best jig I've ever thrown in my whole life. You can ask Brad. I didn't tie another jig on all year round, and I caught like
the Texas rig one.
Yes, and it was amazing because I could throw it whatever I want and fish dinkers all the way up to 20s. We're eating it. It was great.
Yep. It's a great jig. I'll tell anybody listening right now, if you haven't experienced or tried Jig Masters, here's the best thing about Jig Masters: screw locks. That's it. That's all you need to know, dude. If you get, the only reason your trailer's getting destroyed is because you're getting short struck. So, you know, the sled head, swim bait head, anything, anything. It's the best swim bait head ever made, and I'll die on that hill. I do not care.
All day.
Gun to my head, somebody says, throw a little swimmer on a jig head. Okay, I'm calling Cody. But it got to the point where, you're right, Matt. It was like redundancy, you know, like, okay, I've basically utilized the entire catalog of alternative lures and sugar tit for big baits. What can I do that's different? And then it got to the point, you know, Zach and I were in talks of him acquiring the business. And I'm like, dude, I need your help. Like, you're a subscriber. I need you to know, I need you to tell me, like, what do you think you'd want to see? What do you know? And it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I don't know. And it's like, well, shit, if you don't know, if you're the guy,
it's not a popular subject on this show, but the answer is math.
Right. So go ahead and talk about math.
If we want to broaden our horizons and be able to work with more small businesses, then we need to be able to give those small businesses more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing I always wondered, especially as a subscriber, and I'm sure, Zach, you were the same way. Like, I'd get this People's Chant box every single month, and before they were doing like the takeover boxes, which, you know, those boxes were sick. Especially like there's the Black Label box we just got is amazing, and then the
Dark
November
Corner.
the Dark Corner, dude. I love him so much
It's
because
nostalgic.
I went on. You can ask Brad. The second I got one bait from him, I messaged him. Was like, "Hey man, what do you have to offer?" And I spent every month for like 4 months in a way. I love that bait. I've been throwing that. But you know, I always wonder. I was like, man, it's Dark Corner, Black Label. They were just coming. They were every month. They were in the same box. Like, dude, these guys must either have a lot of time, or they must be like cracked out of their mind on paint thinner.
They don't have a lot of time. They're just cracked out of their mind.
These guys,
Yeah.
I think what it is these guys they're just sick. Like they have some kind of process to where it's, again, mathematical. Like they can just do it. Like it's the Model T, man. Like they're just going at it.
Well, and you guys kind of ran into some issues last summer with this too, right? Companies not being able to keep up with the demand, I guess.
Sure.
I thought you guys mentioned that on your like 4th of July episode.
Oh, go ahead. Elaborate.
Yeah, I remember. I was listening to that as I was mowing the yard.
I think that was
taking dog poop off
about
my shoe.
The boxes. That was about the the Hayes boxes.
Yeah. The
That's
Hayes
what
box. The Hayes box was kind of a show. You know, it was just not handled well, to be honest. And like, that's all it is. It just wasn't handled well. That's about all I can say.
And Brad, you said something about changes right in the very beginning, and that's one of the changes. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not easy. That's one of the big changes we're making. We're figuring out how to talk to companies a hell of a lot earlier than we ever have before.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Give them a little bit more time to keep up with what you guys are asking of them.
Yep.
That's mainly like hard bait companies. You know, like, dude, it's different. Like, I could hang up this conversation right now and tie 40 jigs before 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm not a jig guy. I'm not a jig maker. I've made jigs. I know how to make jigs, but that's the thing. Like, you can get a jig maker, you know, hey, if you got some free time, they'll bang it out for you. But, you know, a guy who they make small batch, literally the bread and butter of Darkhorse Tackle, you know, that small batch, that custom made stuff. Like, when it gets to hard baits, some guys don't have the accommodations that other guys have. And that's the toughest part. I was just talking to Dark Corner today about certain things, and he was telling me, he's like, I've only got 6 hangers, so I can only do 6 at a time. And it got to the point where I'm like, dude, I will send you money, or I will buy them for you. I want to accommodate you because I want this to happen.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's
what
cool.
do you got?
We said Dark Corner, and I got to do it. I have to do it.
Of course you do.
Yeah, man. I've already talked to him about some of that stuff too.
He did that whole mount?
Yes.
That's Dark Corner right there.
That's cool. How big
I'm gonna have him.
That was my PB for last year.
How big
I'm gonna
was
have
it?
him do that smallmouth I caught last year.
That was 6 pounds, 7 ounces.
Woo! That's a good one.
Yeah, that's all right. Not my biggest, but my biggest for last year.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he does great work. I've already been talking to him about a smallie.
He's one of my favorites that we've gotten in the boxes. Also, I liked Seller Baits, man. Their spinner baits and the blue rock. Those.
Oh,
Oh my
dude.
gosh, dude.
Jesse.
Loved them.
all the way up until a smallmouth stole it from him and jumped out of the
Oh
water
my
18
gosh.
times with it just to tease him. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that seller baits, like literally the second trip after I got it out of that box, I had a fish break me off, and he jumped 3 times after I heard it jingling every time he jumped.
Yep. It was
I'm
like,
like,
No.
oh, you little
Oh.
jerk.
That's
No.
that PB last year. That's actually a lure I got from my topwater box in July of 2022. I got that on a toad thumper.
Nice.
That's a company we worked with. It's a midnight color, black frog, red eyes.
Yep.
Huh.
there you go.
Yep.
That's
It's,
sweet.
dude, that toad thumper company's nuts. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy that a company could just be like, you know what, let's get in a frog making and then just design something that's perfect.
Well, so sometimes I think like a frog is a frog is a frog is a frog. Well,
Not so much.
not so much. And it's the hookup ratio that is the biggest difference. And I got to tell you, the hookup ratio on those toad thumpers is insane.
What makes it different?
I think out of probably 30 frogfish I caught on that, I think I may have lost one. So out of 31 hookups, I got 30 fish.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what makes it different, but I'll tell you this, like, I got to test the bait. I think we got the bait in June, like early June, before we sent it out in July. And I smoked them on it. Like, I might have, like, let's talk about for every 100 fish, I might have missed 3.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
And it was probably user error. Like, there was
Yeah.
never a time where I set into a fish, reeled down, and it came off. Like, and if it did, it happened once. Like, there was just there's something different about that frog. They are very good. They're good. Like, I can't explain. They're just damn good, man. Like,
Yeah, and it's hard with frogs because, I mean, you see I have 3 hanging up here. There's a
you guys are
Z-Man frog
kayak
and
guys.
then
It's
2
got to be
6.
more difficult too.
Well, with kayaking, yeah, for sure. I mean, my hookup ratio out of a kayak is way worse, but out of a boat, even I could have, like, I've thrown, which Josh and I'm sure you're aware, the big gabbets. I've thrown those. The 6th Sense Vega frogs, I like those a lot, but they all, like, a frog is a frog. One might spit a little bit better, one might walk a little bit easier, but if someone comes out with a frog and your hookup ratio is like 98.5%, that's insane.
Now,
So,
I will tell you this. I got more hits on a Gavaucho,
I can see that.
but
Tried
my
true.
hookup ratio was probably like 1 in 10.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Dang.
it goes from, like I've said it on the show with frogs, is I take pliers. It'd be a brand new frog. A, I boil it, so I soften it up.
Yep.
And then B, I take the hooks in the back and I prig them up just a little bit, just so they're a little bit more exposed. And then they make frog trailer hooks. I can't remember.
Thumper,
It's
out of the box.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's what's awesome about it, is just it works, which is cool. So I haven't really seen a frog that does that, so I'm gonna have to definitely check those out. But back to the boxes. So we're going to the quarterly box, but just for everyone who's listening to the show, they know what other boxes you have. But is there any major changes or anything coming to your weekender box, your dabble packs, anything like that?
Nope.
No.
Nope. We have an exclusive expo box. We might open it up to pre-order, but you know, if somebody like pre-orders it, we'll send it to them.
Yeah.
You
But other
can't.
than
You can't.
that-
Not with an expo box. They got to come to the expo to get it. That's the joy.
I know.
I mean, that's
It's so many people, man. It's just so many people.
Told you, Josh.
I know.
Thanks,
I
man.
know.
mostly because I'm gonna be there. So if they're all pre-ordered, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
Oh,
annoyed.
it's not gonna be like that. It's not gonna be like that. Don't you worry. It's not gonna be like that.
Actually, you know what? There might be a change, and I hope it's noticeable.
Right.
I hope it's noticeable. The change to the Dabble Pack and the Weekend Warrior box is going to be this. You now with 100% certainty have two guys that eat, sleep, and breathe fishing.
Yep.
That's always a plus.
That's what we do. That is what we do. That's what I do. Listen, if I'm not working or sleeping, I'm probably fishing.
Yeah.
And I got to ask you, kayak guys, how the hell do you fish sitting down? I can't do it. I fish out of a canoe, but I'm standing up the entire time.
So
I stand up a lot.
I'm about to say we stand up a ton. The joy of at least for both our boats, they're super stable for standing up. I mean, I could walk to the bow of my boat. Brad's walked to the bow of his boat. I don't know, man. There's these things called the kayak cushion with a K, and that makes sitting a lot easier and a lot more comfortable. And seats in these kayaks are just comfortable. So when you get
mini beach chairs,
it just doesn't
pretty much.
It just doesn't feel right.
So you have to get used to it. Brad's been doing the kayak stuff a lot longer than me. I started in 2016. And when I first got it for like the first year, I felt weird casting sitting down. I didn't want to hook set sitting down because I feel like I didn't have enough leverage. Once you get used to it, you got to change stuff a little bit, but not a whole lot. I mean, it's just more getting used to it. And now, I mean, Brad's watched me rip a hook set and watch the fish come flying out the water and hit my boat. Like I've got to the point to where I can be lounging back, sitting there, and then just do the same hooks that I'd be, I've caught fish on a frog out of a kayak and done the same hook sets on that I would if I was standing up. So you just move your waist and your hips a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what really sucks in a kayak is trying to use a jerk bait and a pencil popper.
Yes,
that is so tough.
Is rough. It is. If you see me standing up, it's because I'm either throwing a topwater spook and I'm walking it back, or I'm using a jerk bait.
Yep.
Like I almost have to stand up with those. My rods, I still use 7.2s and 7.3s. And for those two techniques, I've got to stand up. I just can't, for some reason, I can't do a jerk bait very well sitting down because my rod tip always hits the front of my boat or something.
My paddle hits my paddle.
Or it hits my paddle or something. Same thing with a topwater spook. So
even standing up though, the next time I buy rods for technique specific stuff, and specifically what you're talking about, whether it's going to be like a popper or a jerk bait or anything, when my rod tip is aimed down towards the water, I'm probably going to buy like a 6'10", 6'8".
Yeah, man, I just can't force myself. I've tried. My last jerk bait stick I had was for the kayak. I bought it specifically for the kayak, was a 6'8" jerk bait rod.
What, a G Loomis one?
It was a Loomis. Yeah, it was a GL2. And man, I tell you, I hated it, man. I hated it. I got it from a buddy.
Why did you hate it?
It was too short. I can't do short rods. The shortest I can do is a 6'10", and that's my Ned rig. Everything else is the minimum is 7'1" to 7'2".
Yeah.
All of them. My swim bait stick from my kayak is a 7.6 and a 7.9.
Yeah. That 7.6 is huge.
It is. But my Loomis, which is sitting over there because I haven't actually thrown it a whole lot in the last couple months. Yeah, I mean, it fishes great. I used it all through Dale Hollow. I had a giant muskie follow a bait, which was dope, but that's about all that happened. But yeah, but back to Darkhorse. Brad, what other questions do you have, if any?
I don't have any, man. You kind of asked the last one that I had about the Dabble Pack and the Weekend Warrior. So if nothing's changing with those, then that's good.
Which isn't a bad thing, everyone. The Dabble Packs and the Weekend Warriors are dope, so they don't need to really change. I was just asking to see if any changes were coming. Now, one thing you had mentioned earlier, and maybe you haven't thought about this because you're doing some you said you had some overstock. Back in, it was either spring or summer, you guys sold that swim bait just by itself. There's the pink one and then the
combat.
The combat lure one.
That was acquired via negligence by the old owner. And I think via eBay, one of our subscribers repurchased it.
Oh.
But I want to get back into the exclusives. Not right now, But I want to get back into just having some baits that only we sell.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And that's what I was getting at. I was like, have you thought anymore? Which you kind of just answered it, of doing some more like
Absolutely.
you mentioned it earlier with drop baits. I mean, I'm sure, Josh, you either are still now and you just haven't turned it off, or you still are just like me. You're a working class zero email subscriber.
Oh
To
yeah.
see what new stuff. I mean, they're dropping a new TK and all this fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you want to get, yeah, it looks sick, by the way.
I gotta break off the one that I have, dude. It's funny. I got that. I was telling Zach the other night. There's a big difference between a working class zero or a DRT than there is a KO. And
True.
The difference between most of your KOs, and we can get into this. So those of you that are listening, there's a massive difference between an alternative to a bait you're buying and the actual bait itself. And what that is 9 times out of 10 is the weight transfer system and the way that the rattles or the weights are set in that bait. But also the TKs, they are very similar. Yes, it is a build jointed swim bait with a tail that you can operate, Yeah, great, cool. So the DRT, the way that bill works is it's mendable, it's pliable, it's malleable. You can bend it, you can flip it upside down to get it to run as a low float or whatever you want it to do. I have experienced numerous amounts of KOs due to what I do, due to the painting contests we used to have. They are not the same.
No,
they are not the same. And this is no shade to Luis at Alternative Lures, just in case he listens, but the KO version is not balanced the same way that a high float or a low float or a crank down. It's not that. It's made out of the same plastic. It's the same consistency. And my favorite thing about my DRT working class zero joy thief that I've bought, by the way, they're worth like $400. It's not a big deal. It's not, I'm not trying to brag. I got mine for 80, whatever. Okay.
Oh, you lucky dog. I paid full price.
I got mine like 3 years ago, dude. That's how much they were like 3 or 4 years ago.
You lucky dog.
I got a swim bait rod, swim bait reel, and a swim bait for under $400. And I wasn't paying cost. I actually went to Amazon, looked up a Daiwa Coastal 200. It was $120, which is literally less than cost because it's a $300 reel. I bought a Daiwa SBXD? I don't know, whatever. Swim bait rod made by Daiwa.
Yeah.
It's made by Daiwa. It's a good rod. It's same shit as everybody else is using.
Yeah.
And then I got a DRT Joy Thief, working class zero Joy Thief, for $80. And I got the email and it was like, Joy Thief sale today. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna sit here on my fucking computer and just refresh that thing until it dies, dude. Because it was just the day, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, today's the day I'm getting this thing. I've been looking at this thing. And dude, it's such a cool bait. And those baits are so cool. And that's one reason I love separating Darkhorse Tackle, Zach and myself, from the People's Champ box to this Darkhorse Tackle Quarterly, because we will be getting 100% made, like handmade, like actual, like the plan is not to utilize alternative blanks or anything like that. And if we do, we do. But the alternative blank is very much different from the OG, the real deal. Like, dude, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was an absolute riot over the throwback swim baits KO that Lure Build came out with. And if you guys are boys with Lure Build, well, I'll tell you one thing right now. He did it the wrong way. He took it the extra step, the extra mile that it didn't need to go. He's like, people are going to be mad, but hell, look at me. Like, dude, did you get permission from Throwback Baits to make this? Or did you
Yeah.
buy one, reinvent it yourself, and then just reverse the way the eye looked? Because
that's
to
called patent infringement.
correct. But he didn't infringe on patent because he switched the eye around. So you're not going to get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it is. We all know it's a throwback bait. We know that submarine style bait with the tail and the bill and the good paint jobs. But what we don't know is that all you did was switch the eyes and then sit there and act like it was something that you decided you wanted to make. That's BS to me. And I want to stray away from that because, believe it or not, man, when I asked people who were really good painters, they weren't down with that. And it's not to separate the guys who were down with that to the guys who weren't. It was just a polarizing thing for me. Like, I was like, oh man, like these guys don't want to paint knockoffs. And I respect that. That's fine. Like, if you don't want to paint knockoffs, that's fine. But there are people that make a living off painting. Like, dude, look at Dark Corner. If that guy came out with his own proprietary blanks, it'd be game over. It'd be Dark Corner all day. Yeah. Nobody would blink an eye. They'd be like, oh my God, Dark Corner came out with 10 blanks. Ha! I don't give a hoot about X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to buy from Dark Corner. But coming back to what you said, the DRT is the real deal. It really is. And, a year ago, I'd be worried to say something about that for fear of having a conversation later about blah, blah, blah. It's not American made.
Yeah.
So Working Class Zero is American made. Good chance that DRT might be in the same boat. But my thing,
I can't tell you yay or nay.
Here's my thing. It's either Japanese domestic market for me or it's American made. And that's it.
Yep.
Me working at Walmart, the other day I called Zach. I said, dude, I just got 10 packs of Yamamoto Senkos for $1.50. I paid $10.50.
The OGs, right?
The OGs, buddy.
Yeah, not that.
They got rid of that old packaging because they're doing a new thing with their packaging. They're doing 7 a pack, and they got that ugly packaging talking about catch more, whatever. They went the Guggen route. They did.
I was about to say it's very, very Guggen.
They went the Guggen route.
We've talked about Guggen before, you and me, but I've stepped back just a smidgen. I still don't like a lot of the stuff they do.
You got a podcast to run, buddy.
They're right. Well, I don't care. I've talked crap about so many people; it's not even funny. But the rattle and chunk is pretty.
You know how to fix a rattle and chunk. You go buy some Zoom Super Chunks, then you buy some Venom rattles.
Yeah, and you shove them in there.
You shove them right up the ass of that Zoom Super Chunk because I'm not a very. I've told Zach. He's asked me a million times. Well, what kind of jig trailer do you use? What kind of jig trailer do you use? I use, and forgive me, Darkhorse Nation, but I use a Strike King Rage Chunk, or I use a Zoom Super Chunk because 9 times out of 10, if I'm fishing a jig, I'm fishing for money.
Yeah.
If I'm fishing Darkhorse Tackle, I'm fishing ponds. I'm fun fishing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I'm not, dude. I do fish Darkhorse 9 times. Not let's say I got 10 rods, 9 rods out of 10 Darkhorse Tackle. But, dude, I'm sorry, you're not gonna beat a Zoom Super Chunk and honestly, like very a Motion flipping jig. Motion makes a great jig. They made their jigs specifically to format like Zoom Super Chunks or Strike King baits. But not all the time am I just out here with small business. Sometimes you have to calm down, relax, realize what catches fish, but it's not going to be like a Berkeley flatworm. It's not going to be, it ain't going to be what you think it is. I went out to Erie in August and 90% of the fish I caught was on Darkhorse Tackle products.
Nice.
And it really pissed off the boater. Because I was throwing
jeez, that's funny.
he was live scoping. He's like, get up here and throw this bait, catch you a couple fish, whatever. I threw a really heavy jig from a company who we work with. They're actually out of Washington called Deeks Jigs, and
Deets.
Deeks makes some. He's a West Coast guy, and West Coast is deep water, man.
Yeah.
And I've told him, I'm like, dude, I need like 3/8 ounce at the most, and he's like, I don't know about that, and I'm like, well, then figure it out, We could do 1/8, we could do 1/4, we could do 3/8. He's like, I don't even have molds for that. So I'm throwing this like, 3/4 ounce like round ball finesse jig, and I'm seeing them on live scope, and I'm like, all right. So I fire one out, and I've got the Deeks jig. I've actually got this very large Bitters Baits trailer out of Florida. This was a 100% Darkhorse Tackle effort. So I've got that trailer on, and I'm dragging the jig. I'm just dragging it, and I can see these fish honing in slowly. They're like, okay, I see something moving. Something's getting up dust. And then I can see on his live scope there's a pile of rocks. So I sit it on that rock pile, and I just sit there. And I'm tapping the rod. I'm doing that thing where you tap the rod tip, just shake it. And then you see a flash come down, and you see it going the other way. You see it disappear. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch, I got a bite. 4-pound smallmouth. He's like, no way. I can't believe you didn't catch that fish on a flatworm. Dude, here's the thing. Your Great Lakes, they are feral. You're dealing with fish. You're dealing with groups of fish that have only eaten live bait their whole life. I could take a dip can, cut it in half, drill a hole through it, put it on a drop shot hook, and shake it, and they're going to eat it.
Yep.
They're going to eat it because they don't know what it is. They've never seen something like it. They've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
They said something. The majority of the population of smallmouth and other game species in the Great Lakes continually rotate. So you're getting new fish that continually have never seen anything. They've only ever had shad. They've only ever had perch in some lakes. And then you throw down something with a glint. Like, he's not wrong. Like, I've seen people make hooks out of this and leave a little bit of edge, and they've caught fish on it. Like,
you can throw a dip can out there if you want to.
That's funny.
But before we go into too many rabbit holes, I don't have anything else. Brad, I think you said you didn't have anything else.
Nope.
Well, Zach, what do you got?
Yeah.
First, I gotta check and see if you can hear me or not.
Yes.
Yep. We got you.
All right. Good. I had to go see a man about a horse real quick there.
Sometimes that happens.
I actually do have something else. I want anybody listening. Josh and I, we want to see what you catch. We want to see it. Post it. I don't care where you post it. Post it. Use the hashtag Darkhorse Tackle.
Please
use the hashtag Darkhorse Tackle. Josh and I are once every 3 months. We're gonna search and we're gonna click on the Darkhorse Tackle hashtag and we're gonna look.
Yes.
And we're gonna pick somebody and we're gonna send you an overstock box.
Nice.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay? Because we want to see them. We want to see them. Big, small,
doesn't matter.
Skinny, fat.
I'm gonna pick the best picture. I think is the best picture.
The best picture. Yep.
If it's one of those selfies, it's like this, and like you've got like the fish like this. It's not getting picked. Like I posted one today on our Instagram, Darkhorse Tackle, by the way. And of course it's not a big fish, but it was a good picture by Zach, and that's the point.
That was a big fish. Any fish you catch in January because the stars aligned and the pond wasn't iced over and you actually got one, any fish in January up here is a big fish.
I ruined it for myself in February when I caught a 6.5. So last
year,
you got to
go do it again.
I caught one. It was like 22 inches.
Jeez, dude, that's a good one.
And I couldn't get a picture with it. Like, I'm trying to set like my stuff up, and I'm like trying to do it and trying to self timer it, and I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna take a selfie because it was literally like 38 degrees outside, and it was just one of those things. Like, I was throwing a little swim bait and I felt the bite and I set the hook and I'm like, oh, this fish is just heavy. It doesn't want to fight, like whatever, I'm just like, yeah, it's probably like a 3-pounder. And I see it like go down the side. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
This fish is like the one you caught on the Joshy?
Yeah, I actually caught it on a Bitter's Little Swimmer last year.
Oh yeah. I remember you caught something. Yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to take a selfie. Like I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I can't, like, this fish is too damn big. Like,
you gotta have your arms a little bit longer.
Dude, I measured it. I'm like, all right, it's over 22 inches. Like, I got that down. I'm like, okay, it's over 22, so it's probably like 6 even. But the belly on it, dude, like everything about the fish, I'm like, this thing's built like a brick shit house. Like, I don't, I don't know. Like, yeah, dude, it's big. Okay, it's freaking big. I don't have a weight on it. Anybody wants to come at me, whatever, dude. I don't care. It's an Ohio 22-inch bass. What are you doing in February in Tennessee right now? So
that's an accomplishment for sure.
Don't forget, I don't care if it's 22 inches, like Master Josh.
Master. I just go out more than people.
Take a picture. Hashtag Darkhorse Tackle. We want to see it.
And
if we pick you, we're going to send you an overstock box.
Hey.
I also want to tell you, man, we've got some great new companies we're working with.
Yes.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
The January box actually has a company we've worked with in the past that is they're debuting a brand new bait in our box.
Nice.
And it's cool. Sick. It's sick.
That's dope. I'm pumped to get it.
Yeah.
I have one more thing to say, and apparently I am currently looking at, there it is. Yeah. For anybody who listens to Paddle and Fin, or anybody that is new to Paddle and Fin and has gotten this far, thank you, by the way. But use the code PADDLE20. You save 20% off a subscription. It's very simple.
Yep, I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, it's been there, buddy.
Sweet.
It has been there.
Yeah, we've been pushing it every episode, so our original listeners, they know. So if you're not using it, you need to.
Literally, any single dabble pack or weekend warrior box, any subscription other than the quarterly, any dabble pack, any dabble pack weekend warrior box product, you save 20%.
It's crazy amount of value. But real quick before we end this, Josh and Zach, tell everyone out there where they can find both of you individual on Instagram, and then what the handle is for Darkhorse.
You can find me on Instagram at Metal Jones. Facebook, you can find me as Zech Fullard. Actually, it's Zechariah Fullard with an E, not an A.
Okay.
Obviously at Darkhorse Tackle on TikTok, on Instagram,
all platforms.
Darkhorse Tackle on Facebook as well.
Yeah. You can find me at Josh Chitwood Fishing on Instagram. Facebook is Josh Chitwood. If you're into shit posts, I don't really post about fishing on Facebook. I do every now and then. I'll let people know, hey, by the way, it's really not that hard to follow my company on Facebook.
Yeah.
But there's an occasional fish selfie if I think I look hot. But
Daltek said you were handsome today.
He did. Shout out to Cole. Good for him. Real recognized real. But yeah, Darkhorse Tackle on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Literally, you think of it, we got it. We even
OnlyFans.
Yep, we've got a Darkhorse Tackle Discord going on now. If you want to see some really good fishing content, you go to our OnlyFans. It is $420.69 a month. I promise you it's worth it.
That is a very specific number.
If you want to know, if you really want to know what the fishing hole is,
man. All right, we're gonna go from being an everyone show to not. So, guys, thanks for coming.
Matt,
on.
that happened a long time ago. So whatever.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. But thanks for my mom sometimes listens to these. So
my mom is definitely going to watch this.
Great.
Good.
Great. Yeah. That's awesome. Hi, Zach's mom. But guys, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you guys really. I got to show the nails.
Good
I
nails.
appreciate you guys sponsoring the show for another year. We love having you
Anytime.
around. We
Anytime.
love the company. We love
We'll
the
get
boxes.
you guys some boxes out and stuff like that. I'll probably pack some stuff up. If you guys are at the fishing show, you guys can either come over or I'll bring some stuff over. We just been slacking on that because we've been cutting it tight. But anyway.
No, you're good.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that one of those Expo boxes has paddle and fin on the bottom of it.
Works for me.
Aha! I love it. So, but all right, guys. Brad, if you've got nothing else,
Nope, we're good.
then we're good. Everyone have a good week. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for
having
listening
us.
to the final cast.
Thanks,
See
boys.
ya.
We'll see.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You can support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.